What would make a man step out of reality at a live televised event, at the biggest event of the year for actors, saunter up on stage as though in a movie role, and smack the presenter in the face because he didn't like the 3.5-second joke? Then strut back to his seat, yell expletives, and continue to enjoy the event as though it never happened. Some people say he was protecting his wife's honor because the joke was about her.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
And even if he did have a problem with the joke because it was about his wife, does he have the right to go up and smack someone in the mouth? He was not at a family reunion or a family barbecue where you go up and smack an uncle because of something he said. This was at the Oscars. Clearly, this is something bigger. The video is hard to watch on so many levels, right? One, the actual assault. But in so many ways, even more to watch someone break from reality and enter into this superior than thou mode and think that he has the right to go up and do this to someone. It was clearly, to me, a psychological break. Let me explain. Will Smith appears fun-loving, down-to-earth, and loves people. And people really do love Will Smith. But he's also shared that his perfect, invincible, bigger-than-life image is well-crafted. One of the reasons he wrote his book is that he wanted to pull back the veil so that people could see the real him. And he doesn't have to say it. You can sense that he loves to be adored, admired, and looked up to. And I believe his need to appear great and perfect and wonderful in front of others is a big part of the psychological collapse that we saw. Let me go on. In 2016, Chris Rock hosted the Oscars and told a joke then about Will Smith and Jada, his wife. That year, there was an effort to boycott the Oscars because there were no Black nominees. In particular, Will had done a movie called Concussion and hadn't been nominated for an award. Although Will said the boycott wasn't about him not being nominated, Jada made it known that her husband should have been nominated. They both decided against attending the Oscars that year, encouraging others to do the same. Chris Rock had been encouraged to boycott the Oscars as well, but declined and decided to host the Oscars that year, and in his monologue addressed racism in Hollywood, and didn't fail to make a joke about Will and Jada boycotting the Oscars that year.
Jada's mad her man, Will, was not nominated for Concussion. I get it. Tell the truth. I get it. You get mad. She said it's not fair that Will was this good and didn't get nominated. Yeah, you're right. It's also not fair that Will was paid $20 million for Wild Wild West, okay?
But that's typically what comedians do, especially at award shows. And the bigger the celebrity, the bigger the target. So has Will Smith been holding a grudge all this time, since 2016, towards Chris Rock for this roast of him? You know, I don't know that Will Smith's ever been roasted before by a comedian. And if so, maybe it's a calm joke that sort of elevates him in some sort of way. I know his family is talked about a lot in the media, in not so good ways all the time. But I don't know that he's ever been roasted in the way that Chris Rock has roasted him. Chris Rock has a way of joking about him in a way that maybe Will can't take. Maybe he feels disrespected, or maybe he feels like Chris Rock has diminished his greatness. Because remember, Will Smith likes to look good in front of others. And how dare you take that away from me? A grudge is when you hold on to resentment towards someone you believe has insulted or harmed you in some way. I know what it's like to have a grudge, and a grudge will consume you, and it will take over your life if you allow it to. So at the Oscars, Will Smith is sitting only a few feet away from the stage where Chris Rock stands and tells the joke. And if indeed Will has held a grudge all these years, the grudge is about to come to a head. Chris tells the joke, and initially Will laughs. But is the laughter real? Or is his laugh a part of his crafted image? Jada wasn't laughing. So when Will saw Jada not laughing, was it a reminder that, oh wait, should I be laughing at this? Was he conflicted in this moment, not knowing what to do? Because as we can see here, the mind is so complex. And the next thing you know, Will is sauntering up on that stage to smack Chris Rock. But I believe by that time, he has exited reality and has entered into an imaginative state. In Will Smith's book, in chapter 8, there is an incident that happens when he's 20 years old that may give us insight that explains how he went from laughing at Chris Rock's joke to walking on the stage, smacking him. And it's also the reason why I believe that Will Smith had left reality and went into some sort of an imaginative state. Let's take a look. In the book, Will Smith talks about a girl that he had been dating. He was in love with her. He talked about how he loved coming home from his tours to go and visit her, and how she was always so super excited to see him. And this particular instance, when he came home and went to visit her at her aunt's house, he sensed that something was off. And at some point, he senses that she has cheated on him. And he confronts her about it. And she confesses and says that she did cheat. Will talks about how he just can't believe that she would do this to him because he's done everything right. He has done everything he can to keep other girls out of his life. He has wanted to marry this girl, have children with her, this girlfriend, and now it's come to this. He's devastated. But he says in the book, on the outside, I was strangely calm because none of these thoughts were registering as actual feelings. I wanted to be angry. You're supposed to be pissed when someone cheats on you, right? He says. But I felt nothing. He goes on to say that he just stood there feeling numb, feeling nothing. And he continues to think, when someone cheats on you, you have to do something. But what? I didn't feel any emotions, but I was not going to be a coward, he says. Not this time. And he says, I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to storm out. But I also knew I had to do something violent to punctuate my departure. I scanned the room for possibilities, he says, and he noticed at the fireplace there was this fireplace tool, the iron thing that you poke the fire with. So he calmly picks up this fireplace tool, goes into the foyer, and smashes out windows. And he says this, I guess I smashed about 12, maybe 15, before I felt I had sufficiently done my performative duty as a cuckolded 20-year-old. And then he slams the iron thing to the ground. As he walked home to his mother's house, which was about a 22-minute walk away, he writes this: I could not believe I had just broken all those windows. I couldn't locate where it had come from within me. It seemed so strange to me to break things just because I thought I should, not because I was at all emotionally impelled to do so. This discordance was hilarious to me. Out of nowhere, I began to chuckle, replaying the scene in my mind. I was thinking, Will, you are an absolute lunatic. And that made me laugh even more. This whole thing was hysterical. It wasn't until he reached his mom's house and saw his mom that he connected with some emotion and broke down and started crying because his girlfriend had cheated. So can you see the similarity in the psychological process from the situation in the book when he was 20 versus what happened at the Oscars? He seems to be disconnected from his emotions. He says that. He feels numb, doesn't feel anything, but cognitively, he knows something bad has happened and I need to do something. So there's a confliction going on, right? At the Oscars, the joke, laughing at first, wife not laughing, maybe a reminder that, oh, I'm not supposed to be laughing. What do I do? Conflicted. I feel like he went through the same process psychologically that he did in that book, in that scenario, that he went through in that moment at the Oscars. What do I do? Okay, I'm not supposed to laugh at the joke. I need to do something. I'm not going to be a coward. I need to do something. Notice too how in the book he talks about the need to do something grand as he makes his exit because he doesn't have emotions to guide him. So it's almost as though the grandiose thing that he does needs to replace his emotions. And it also seems the same way here at the Oscars, because that slap was definitely grandiose. And that's when I believe somehow he breaks from reality, and the next thing you know, we see him walking on that stage. I believe he has left his mind at that point. Or dissociation is when you separate from your emotions and your body or your mind, and usually it's rooted in trauma. I'm definitely not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but this information is interesting regarding dissociation. I think that it's extremely serious. Definitely don't think it's funny. I don't think it should be something that's done skits about on SNL or anything like that, because I think that mental health issues are serious, right? And I think that the situation, although bad because someone was assaulted, but it could have been much worse. And I hope that Will Smith gets the help he needs. I hope that he chooses to take it seriously and get real help, not Hollywood help where they're doing damage control, right? I hope that he really gets the help he needs. See you next time.